I'm Kevin Tarpey, and this is散歩日和. During springtime, I always desire to go on a long trek. This year, I spent about a week walking from Kyotango in Kyoto Prefecture to Iwami in Totori, exploring the Sanin Kaigan National Park. The experience was quite rewarding. I had the chance to marvel at geological wonders, visit small fishing villages hidden in rocky inlets, indulge in delicious crab, and meet many locals. Out of all the amazing things I encountered, the place that impressed me the most was the 2.7-kilometer hiking trail between the fishing ports of Tajiri and Ajiro in Iwami. It offered breathtaking sea views and access to several enchanting beaches, making it one of the most spectacular landscapes I have ever visited in Japan. I started walking from the eastern end of the trail and made my way down to Shirawara Beach. The beach is covered in gravel and dotted with massive boulders, some of which are as large as multi-story buildings. As I walked around the corridors created by the layout of these huge rocks, I felt as if I was moving through the defensive passageways of a Japanese castle. The polished stones that covered the beach clacked underneath my feet with every step. These rounded rocks are mostly granite and were formed around 60 million years ago, when the Japanese islands were still a part of the continent of Asia. Many people find it daunting to think about such immense time spans, but I find it liberating. When I consider the colossal scope of geological time, my present-day problems and worries seem insignificant. Next, I followed the trail over some hills and arrived at Kamo Gaiso, a bay with secluded beaches. The seawater in the bay was incredibly clear, and I could see patches of thick seaweed that created an ideal environment for marine life. The sand on the beach sparkled in the sunlight, which I later discovered was due to its high quartz content. I had seen pictures of Kamo Gaiso online, but witnessing the beauty of the real thing left me in awe. I was fortunate to have the beaches to myself that day, and it felt like I was stranded on a deserted tropical island. Unlike an actual castaway, I was reluctant to leave. Continuing on my way, I was surprised that the trail had a steeper elevation than I had anticipated. Luckily, the beautiful spring colors of violets, periwinkles, and fumworts blooming along the path kept me motivated. A side trail leads to the midpoint of the main trail for those who may not want to take on the full challenge. However, I highly recommend walking the entire trail, as each section offers its own rewards. Late in the afternoon, I felt exhausted, so I sat on a bench in the western part of the trail to take a long break. The sun cast a dazzling reflection on the water and created a mesmerizing effect with the dark silhouettes of the jagged granite islets. It was a splendid way to end my week-long trek along the Sanin Kaigan National Park. I wished I could have stayed to watch the sunset, but unfortunately, I had to catch a train. I'm sure I'll be back to explore this majestic section of the coast again and again. When I was younger, I often walked along the seashore, since my childhood home was only 5 minutes away from the ocean. However, when I reached my 20s and got into hiking, I turned my attention to mountains and mostly neglected coastal regions. It wasn't until I moved to Shimane, with its dramatic coast, that I began walking along the ocean again. I'm grateful that coming to Japan has reacquainted me with a cherished landscape.